Okay, so for whatever reason, OBS wasn't using my microphone phone as a source for the thing. So yeah, cool. All right, I think that fixed it. Let me know, Don. That was weird that it didn't let me know, but whatever. All right. Okay, cool. So you can hear me now. That's weird. Is it putting emotes at the end of everything? I am a desktop. Skip stream. Oops. Skip stream, not Sonic GIF. Promo break. Work in progress. Image C. No. Then. Agent DJ writes, OBS glitch? Perhaps? Probably, actually. It's weird because that's never been a glitch before. So yeah, that's weird. Also, welcome to the Skip Stream, Agent DJ. How you doing tonight? Also, apparently Best is trying to lurk. Alright, so we're gonna, let's see, copy that. Wait, no, that's not the one I use for Twitter. Tweet that. Okay, that's cool. Alright. Tweet that. Alright, now to Tumblr, because Tumblr's the next easiest one to do stuff for. Agent writes, doing alright, just ate dinner. Don writes, you gonna stream for 3 hours? Yep, unfortunately. I would like to stream for straight up for 4, but, I can't because I actually have to get a lot of work done after the stream, which is now becoming a thing now. So I have to stream, I have to close down, so yeah, I'm gonna be streaming for 3 hours and then, 3 hours and then I'm gonna go back to work, unfortunately. I mean, go home, no, go to sleep. Gonna be doing things off the stream, unfortunately. Alright. And then we blog to the SkipperWing. And we blog to Crimson Fly. Don writes, nice man, plans for doing a strong stream like 10 hours, what sounds crazy. It would be fun though. Yeah, well, it could also kill somebody, so there's that. Blog schedule for 8 p.m. Schedule. Oops. Blog schedule for 9 p.m. and schedule. That's weird that you guys are getting that you guys have or rather Don has the, oh right, because you might be for somebody else's stream, so there's that too. Because yeah, I'll explain the swirly things in a hot minute though. First I gotta finish doing this thing. And schedule for 8 p.m. Big blog schedule for 9 p.m. Schedule. And lastly, Silly Wing. Schedule. So Don writes, what are you gonna do in this stream? I'm going to work on my comic as I normally do. Unfortunately, I have to work only on that tonight because of the aforementioned rush. I took an early nap today, and I did a few things today that I wasn't really expecting to do. Like, I hopped onto somebody else's voice Discord rather than actually working. And then I took a nap, and those were kind of productive in their own way. But I didn't get any work done that I would really like to. So unfortunately, the comic is going to be the only thing I'm going to work on during the stream today. So last but not least, okay, that's not a thing I can check out right now. So. Post that directly to Facebook and then share that again. Sharing a group. And share another group. So Don writes, you don't have to if you don't want to, but is your name actually Skipper? No, my name is not actually Skipper. My name, as written in my description below, is Colin SkipperWing, well, Colin Bird. SkipperWing being a nickname that I gave myself after college. And the reason for that is that when I went to art school, and so what they wanted you to do is they want you to establish a branding for yourself. So you know, like how Spider-Man is a brand for Marvel. Like, Spider-Man isn't just about the comics; it's about the comics, the cartoons, the toys, the shoes, the what have you. Spider-Man is a brand. So one of the things that they teach you in school is that eventually you have to start becoming a brand, because you're not going to be just working for you're not just going to be making the things that you make and selling those, but you're going to be selling people your names. Basically saying, when you make your name, or sorry, basically when you buy something that's made by Colin Bird, you can expect a certain things. You can expect that it's going to be bouncy, it's going to be dynamic, it's going to be a lot of black and white in it. So yeah. So my name is my brand. But the thing is that Colin Bird isn't in and of itself an inherently interesting name. I mean, it technically is, because I mean, bird. Cool, that's cool. But it's not quite as interesting to remember as SkipperWing. So I came up with SkipperWing as a name for myself. And it helps that in today's culture of internet social media, where usernames become important, and easy to remember usernames are important, like JonTron versus John Jafari, or Ego Raptor rather than Aaron Hansen. Those are easier to remember than their real names. So SkipperWing is my online name. Agent DJ writes, will you be going back to anime extras like the stream intro possibly next week? I definitely will. I want to get back to that because I want to finish that. Also, there's a few other pet projects that I've been working on in other streams that that I kind of want to start moving forward on. So we're gonna get back to that next week, or maybe Saturday even. So yeah, there is that. So let me open up that file. Plus, the other reason the anime extras and stuff is because I am now Twitch affiliated. I don't know if you know that. You knew that, Agent. I am now Twitch affiliated, which means that I can have subscriptions, and if you subscribe to me, you get 3 custom emotes, which I will put up on the screen in a second. Let's go to current projects. Crimfly. Comics work in progress. Number 6. 96. Production. Static. Work files. Number 96 read. Okay, cool. So that's actually up and available. But Oh wait, I'm not looking for number 96. I'm looking for number 97. 97 production static comics work files. Okay, so it doesn't exist yet. That's okay. Production, pre-production, sketch, work files, 97 sketch. All right. Don writes, hello, you look like you're boxing, like you watch boxing like Floyd Mayweather, etc. I actually don't watch a lot of sports anymore. Let's see, where am I? Streaming. Cool. So, and then let's open recent. Open file, open recent emotes. So yeah, Agent, I don't know if you're still here, but if you are, I currently have emotes available for Discord, my Discord channel. They're showing up right now. So I currently have a Crimsfly main, thumbs up, thumbs down, rage, hype, shock, confusion, and then for SkipperWing as well. Basic main, thumbs up, thumbs down, rage, hype, shock, and confusion, and these are all available on Discord. However, SkipperWing main, SkipperWing hype, and Crimfly hype will be available for subscribers on Twitch. So it'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, there's that. All right, time to get into today's stream. Don writes, lol, you don't even watch, not even the Olympics? Not really. As I get older, I kind of stop caring. I like the unity aspect of it. Not gonna lie about that. But, on the flip side, let me just change up the music, because as much as I love Sonic Mania music, we kind of do need to listen to something else. Let's see, show more. Where's my mixes folder? Mixes, let's go to mixes. Actually, no, let's not do the mixes yet. Let's do... Cause I need something to sort of jazz me up. So let's do Street Fighter first, and then we're gonna bounce into the mixes. But yeah, I just kind of stopped stop watching the Olympics. Don writes, so stupid question, of which there are none. Sorry, Don, there's not really much such a thing as a stupid question. But what is Discord? So Discord is basically a chat server that allows for vocal capabilities. So what it allows you to do is you go to my Discord server, and then you can either post stuff that you want to talk about, or you can get on the voice chat and you can actually talk to people. So there is that too. So let me see if I can find the link real quick for my personal one. Invite people. So copy that and paste it. So you can check out what I like to post here, and I usually tend to post things that I've done after the stream in Discord. So that's a good place to check them out. Alright, so first and foremost, we're gonna go inside here, undo the panels. We're not gonna lock that. What instead we're gonna do is we're gonna change that to black, because I need my panel borders to be black. And so these are gonna be adjustable. So panel 1. And then the rest is just going to be its own super panel. Actually, that's not true. Panel 2. And then panel 3 and 4 are going to be their own sort of super panel. So, let us grab that. Ooh, we're not going to touch that. And grab that. Actually, we're going to erase those and undo those because they're overlapping in a way I didn't want when I drew the line. So now let's try those lines again. So grab that, make those bigger. Select them and drag them over a little bit. So that way we have an actual background, actual divisions. Then grab all that, break it apart, deselect the panels, delete, hit S. Cool, so now we have panels with panel borders, except that's not quite what we wanted yet. Because right now the meter is joined there and it says meter, and we want, it's a cap, and we want meters, so that way we have pointy lines at the end as opposed to just like sort of stubble. So now we have that, and now what we can do, well, first we gotta copy this over because I accidentally deleted the mask there. So normal, like that. Alright, so now let's go in here and we're gonna go in and name these proper. So we'll see, grab that, F8 to create a new symbol. Let's drag that window down where you guys can see it. Crimfly 97, panel 01. We're not gonna put it in the library root, we're gonna put it in the comic panels, P01, read, boom. I'm gonna copy that too. Okay. F8, P02, and then F8, P03. And we need to put those in their respective spots, because otherwise my library's gonna be a complete mess, and I don't want that. So panel 2. And the reason why we don't make a panel 4 is because panel 4 connects to panel 3, and it's just easier to think of the first one rather than think of them as one giant thing composition together, rather than being its own separate thing. All right, so now that we have our panels, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to our template, and then we're gonna grab all my layers. Don writes, okay, so I'll use in the future. If there's some big event or sport I always watch. I'm a sports freak, so yeah, watching things and making emoji is difficult, etc. is difficult to do a combination, so that's the logic, yeah. Yeah, I mean, sports, I'm still in the kind of this elitist mindset of I kind of want to go out and do it myself. If I'm going to watch sports, I kind of want to go out and do it myself. And I get the allure of it, but it feels a little too disconnected. But no, there's tons of reasons to want to enjoy sports, and you should completely continue to enjoy sports. So, frame/mask. Yeah. Paste layers. And frame/mask. And paste layers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here's pick 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose to pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select and make your best pick. Select 9, 8, 7, 6. Yes? Hey. Sure. Yeah, sure. Alright, so now we're going to go in and we're going to start doodling. But first we need the right line, and we also need there we go. Oh, come on, Flash. So there. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you see, now that I've laid out a framework for how I'm going to draw my panel, makes it a lot easier to add extra details, because my foundation is so solid, or rather as solid as it can be for my particular style of drawing. Like you can see, I kind of tucked the hands in when I drew them, when I drew it in the sketch. But here I'm actually trying to piece them out. And again, if you guys have questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Oh, that reminds me of something I want to talk about. So, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but like today on Twitch, if you try to submit an emoji or an emote, it gives you a loading spinner, and you're probably wondering what that's about. Well, in the U.S., where Twitch is based, the internet has a problem. Basically, the guy who in the U.S., the FCC, the Federal Communications something or other, basically they regulate how rules that companies have to follow when it regards to the internet. One of those people, some of those people are the people who provide internet to people. So companies like Verizon, Comcast, Time Warner, what have you. There are basically rules that they have to follow whenever they provide internet to people. What the government argues, or used to argue, it might change, is that the internet is a utility. Basically, it's like electricity or water or gas or what have you. They can't they can choose to charge however much it costs to actually run the cables and stuff, but they can't charge you more or less depending on who you are, because it's a public service that belongs to everybody. They also can't charge whatever they want because it's a public service that belongs to everybody. Those are the rules for electricity, and so that's just the way things are. So before, the internet fell into that category as well. It's a utility. It's a public utility that everybody needs and deserves, and therefore you can't pick and choose how you're going to distribute the internet. Unfortunately, Donald Trump's pick for the FCC head, Ajit Pai, doesn't believe that the internet is a utility. And worse, Ajit Pai used to work for Verizon, which means that he's got a conflict of interest. Basically, it's in his best interest to argue that that the internet is not a utility, because when he leaves office, then he can go back to Verizon and then go work for them and claim lobbyist bonuses for having argued in their favor, making the laws work in their favor. That's actually what a lot of politicians do. Is after they finish their term, they then go and work as lobbyists for the companies that they lobbied for when they were in office. Now the problem is that this is bad for everybody involved, or rather not everybody involved. This isn't bad for us as consumers, and also for people on the internet as well, because if the at least in the U.S. anyway, if the internet is not classified as a public utility, then that means that Comcast and Verizon and all the other companies that provide internet to people can choose how fast the internet works for different companies. That's very, very bad. On the company side, what they can do is they can tell Twitch, for example, hey, so we want you to give us more money if you want your streams to run well. If you don't give us more money, then we're gonna make them run slow, and we're gonna make Picardo run fast instead, because they're paying us they're paying us more to keep the streams running properly. And Twitch will have no choice but to comply with that, because obviously if there's buffering in the streams, that's a killer for streams, because the appeal of streaming is that you guys can watch a stream. You guys can watch a stream almost instantaneously. Like, you don't have to wait for the video to catch up with itself, etc., etc. So if Twitch is if somebody decides to throttle Twitch, that's bad for the entire platform. And worse, what that means for us is that Twitch is probably going to stop being completely free. Either for the viewers, aka you guys, and also probably for the streamers too, because what they're gonna say is, well, you guys are streaming on our site for free, but it's costing us too much money to stream for free. So you're gonna have to, if you want to stream on Twitch and you want to make money off of it, you're gonna have to pay a subscription to be allowed to use our service. And if you can't pay that thing, then you can't stream on Twitch. Alternately, on the other side of the equation, what used to be free, aka just being able to be a follower, is going to turn into something like the subscription program, where you have to sign up for Twitch Prime if you want to watch the streams. That's really, really bad, and that's just one example. Worse, this becomes even worse with sites wherein there's very visible conflicts of interest. So there's the idea, like, say Netflix. This actually happened to Netflix. Because Comcast and Verizon, at least in the United States, they're not just their own individual companies. They're also owned by massive conglomerates who also own other things. So, like, I think Comcast or Verizon is owned by Time Warner, which also owns HBO, which is in competition with Netflix. Now we need the head looking down. I was right the first time. So say, so, and I promise I'll get to your comments in a second, Don. I just want to finish my story real quick. So say, like, the newest episode of Game of Thrones is streaming on Netflix, but HBO wants it to be on their service primarily. So they're gonna go to Comcast and say, hey, we need you to put pressure on Netflix to not stream it, or to disincentivize them from streaming Game of Thrones. So Comcast says to Netflix, look, if you want your stuff to run at full power, then you gotta then you have to pay us more money. Netflix says no, then the streaming services do not work. Netflix says yes, and then that means that prices go up. And the problem with the prices going up is that then this doesn't just affect this doesn't just affect American viewers, but if you have a subscription to Netflix somewhere else in the world, well, guess what? Your prices are also going to go up too. So this is bad for everybody. HBO isn't a news channel. HBO is an entertainment channel in the U.S. Work files, read. Yeah. So Don writes, did you know that there's a procedure in place to put Trump out of the White House? A congressman is gonna start the process to put him away because of the Russia thing. Yes, actually. Apparently a congressman in California has introduced procedures to impeach Donald Trump, because basically, like, you're not supposed to take help from a foreign power to in presidential elections. Like, that's not supposed to be a thing. Because you don't want foreign countries to influence your nation's politics. That's just really, really bad. Or at least it's bad in the current climate. In a universally global society, it wouldn't matter. Because we would all be working towards each other's best interests. However, we've seen before that Russia is currently not interested. And I say Russia the country, not Russia the people. Because like the Russian people are like the American people. We just live. We don't always condone what our governments want us to do, but we just happen to live in the countries where our leaders don't have our best interests at heart. Just as Donald Trump does not represent me, I'm pretty sure that for Russian streamers or viewers, Vladimir Putin does not represent them. But either way, the point being that, like, you can't have foreign powers meddling in our elections. Just like you, and that goes in the other direction too. The United States also needs to get its cookies out of other people's cookie jars and let them handle their affairs on their own. Let's see. So what we found out yesterday is that Donald Trump Jr., his son, had been talking to a Russian lawyer about getting information on Hillary Clinton for her during her campaign. Group that. And let me see if I can go bug Jiggy and Drastic. I'll be back to finish that streaming. Let me see if any of my other collaborators are here. Jiggy. Alright, let's put that to bed for a second. So, yeah, so for those who don't know, so Donald Trump Jr. is accused of having colluded with Russian lawyers, potentially backed by the Kremlin, to get his father put into the White House. That's a no-no. It doesn't matter how bad Hillary is, doesn't matter how bad Bernie Sanders was, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, and that's complicated. But basically, they promised they had revealing information on Hillary Clinton that would have helped put Donald Trump in the White House. According to Donald Jr., Jared Kushner and Paul Manafort, they didn't actually have that information, but what their opponents and critics are saying is that it doesn't matter. You shouldn't have been talking to them in the first place. This is also made worse by the introduction of the idea of Russian hacking. The idea that Hillary Clinton's emails were hacked and distributed to the FBI and various news sources to basically destabilize her attempt at the presidency. Not so much to directly change votes and stuff, but basically put enough doubt in the American people's minds that they would change their minds about how they voted. So that's why we have on the internet that meme, but her emails. The idea is that Hillary Clinton had a series of damaging emails talking about national security and basically implying corruption at the highest levels, and that would be enough to put Donald Trump in the White House. The idea behind that being that, well, Donald Trump not being a politician means that he can't have damaging emails, he can't have damaging information because he's never been in politics before. we're now finding out that that's not true at all. I mean, yes, he's never been involved with politics, but that his administration is horribly corrupt. Most of his all of his picks for his administration have conflicts of interest. And basically what conflicts of interest are is basically you have an attachment to somebody that prevents you from making an unbiased decision. Basically, like if I was the judge of a contest, and I said, okay, well, it's gonna be a contest between Agent DJ, Best Ever, and Don Bosco for who likes me the best, or rather, not for who likes the best, but who makes the best art. But imagine if, like, if me and Best work together at the same job. There's a conflict of interest there because Best and I are co-workers. I'm more likely to favor him because I know him better. So that's a problem. Let's see. Meanwhile, Best writes, I like Skip, just an FYI. Lol, there's another thing that I don't understand. Clinton had all the public votes overall when she's still not president. Because the stupid rule on the votes in the thing. Well, yeah. We have basically the Electoral College. The idea of the Electoral College is that, well, California has more people in it. So why should California have equal weight in voting over behind Hawaii, let's say, which does not have as many people. Now, granted, I don't know how many people Hawaii actually has versus California, but you can pretty much guess that it's not a lot. So the Electoral College was created to basically give equal weight to all the states in their voting stuff. So the Electoral College basically is supposed to be an equalizer, in theory. In practice, that's not actually how it works at all. Let's see. It's break time. Recording. Break. Put on the break timer. Best writes, but the electorate needs reform because the people who are electors are picked by the parties, not by the people. Exactly. So our government is run by two parties who don't want to get along. Well, because the problem is that the effects of their actions don't affect them. So in the case of, I don't know if you've heard, Don Bosco, like our healthcare problems, Congress doesn't have the same healthcare as the rest of us in the U.S. Like, they just don't. So when we say, don't take away our healthcare, they're gonna say, well, why don't you just work hard like we did? And I say, well, our situation is different. So, yeah. So their decisions don't affect them, and that's a problem. So yeah. Hold up real quick, guys. I need to get my my blackberries, and then I will be back. Alrighty then. So yeah, Don writes, I miss Barack. I mean, maybe he wasn't a big leader for my opinion, but he acted like a human and not a jerk. Best writes, Obama was a nice guy, politics aside, he was human, civil, kind, and wanted to work across the aisle. I don't agree with everything he did, but I am happy that I grew up under his administration. That's very true. Obama wasn't like a liberal progressive. He was a centrist, essentially. And basically what a centrist is somebody who has both conservative views and progressive views and liberal views and Democratic and Republican views. Alright, time to get back to work. And that's really the way our society should work. Is that we disagree, but it doesn't affect us. I mean, that doesn't mean that we can't talk. The problem that we're having in the U.S. nowadays, though, is that because politics has been dragged so far to the right, even with Democrats and even with the Democratic views and all of that jazz, hold up a sec. Now we have a problem where, like, even things that should be universal are seen as bipartisan. Wherein the Republican Party does not want to shake off the endorsement of the alt-right movement. So basically, like, the neo-Nazis, Breitbart, the KKK, etc., etc., etc. Because that's a lot of political power. And then the left, all they have is, at least we're not them, which is not good enough. It really isn't. You have to have a platform. And things like basic human rights are now held hostage because it's like, well, it's like police brutality is a problem, but because the right has been so quick to adopt well, maybe the police are doing their job and you should just take it. Well, the left has no choice but to go, well, okay, basic human rights. And everybody's like, well, that's not something we should be arguing. So Don writes, in your opinion, who was the best president in your lifetime? I mean, only Barack now, but back when Bush was in business, I was a child, so yeah, that's not a time. There really is, unfortunately, that's not really much of a question. Like, Barack Obama was the best president in my lifetime by far. That's really not a question, unfortunately, and that's very sad that's how it is. Because they should all be good. But what's his face? Bush Sr. continued the policies of Reagan. Clinton had he voted to make prison sentences very harder in the U.S. to quote unquote crack down on crime, pursuing an agenda to follow a faulty drug war that was perpetuated in racism and bigotry. And then of course there was the sex scandal with Monica Lewinsky. So there's that. Bush Jr. Led us into Iraq. Now, granted, it wasn't his fault that we went into. That wasn't his fault that 9/11 happened on his watch. However, we should not have gone to Iraq trying to get into Afghanistan. Like, that's just not a thing that we should have done. So, by comparison, Obama was essentially a saint. He got us out of Iraq. He introduced healthcare, and he got the economy back. Now, granted, Obama wasn't perfect. There was a lot of that he could, if he had pushed for his policies the way that the Republicans are pushing for theirs now, he probably would have gotten more done. And we should not be bombing people with drones. We shouldn't be in the Middle East. There's no reason for the U.S. military to be in the Middle East. So he wasn't perfect, but compared to what came before, and especially compared to what's come after, he's by far the best president of our lifetime. And best friends, and that is even laced with nuance, because Ahmad Massoud told the United States, "Yo, this Osama guy is bad news, but we didn't listen." Yeah, that's the big problem with politics, is that yesterday's friend is tomorrow's enemy, or vice versa, and the situation is always changing. So we should, and hindsight is 2020. Like, we knew Osama bin Laden was a bad dude, but we didn't listen. We just figured that we would that he would be too scared to try anything. Turns out you can't really be too scared to try anything if you know you're gonna die anyway. So yeah, so here's hoping that President Tangerine gets impeached. The other problem is that even that's complicated too, because if President Tangerine gets impeached, then next after that is the bad guy from the X-Men, Mike Pence, who is just as bad as Trump, but equally as but smarter about it, at least in regards to politics. And even if we can prove that that Mike Pence was colluding with the Russians too, which is looking highly likely, considering that that either he knew what was going on and didn't say anything, or he didn't, or he's woefully incompetent if he didn't know this was going on, and didn't say anything. The chain of succession is so skewed towards conservative regressivism that this isn't going to be simply resolved with, oh, well, we got rid of Donald Trump. No, the problem is that if you want the system to fix itself, you have to get rid of everyone in the Republican leadership. Hey guy. Oh yeah, no, we're talking politics. So like, what's his face? Trump has to go. Pence has to go. Paul Ryan has to go. Mitch McConnell has to go. They all have to go. If you want to fix the system. And that, unfortunately, it's not just a one and done process. It means a lot of voting and a lot of investigation. And all the while you're doing this, these people are going to be pushing back and trying to prove that there's nothing wrong with the system. Even though there's a lot wrong with the system. And that's not even getting into social issues, which Drastic is very well aware. Also, welcome to SkipperWing, Drastic.
Thank you, Karen.
So, Don writes, you'll never guess where I was at 9/11. I'm gonna guess that you were asleep, because it would happen during the day, and you would probably have it probably would have been during your actually it would probably been late afternoon, so maybe you were in school. Best writes, at that point the House Speaker would be present. That leaves us with a Paul Ryan presidency, which is scary. Absolutely.
Oh Jesus.
Because the problem that we have with a lot of those guys is that we stand against Donald Trump because it's very nakedly clear that he's wrong. With the other guys, and you saw this with the Donald Rumsfeld era, people don't pay attention to these people, to these monsters. So Paul Ryan's gonna introduce bills, and then people are gonna not pay attention because at least he's not Donald Trump. So yeah, so this started actually drastic. Let's start off with the net neutrality thing. Have you had a chance to check out like what happens to emojis on Twitch right now?
What happened to emojis on Twitch?
Well, if you look at my chat, you can see that after Don Bosco comments, almost every other comment of his is covered with a loading screen, or rather a loading spinner. So basically, Twitch replaced all the emotes with spinners, to talk about the internet. Yep.
Okay.
So that's where that is right now. And Don writes, well, the 30% that voted for Trump are not sure to vote again, or for sure not vote again anymore on Trump, I guess. We're not guaranteed that. That's the scariest thing about all of this. Everything that we're going through right now, it's possible for it to repeat itself in 2018 and 2020.
Yeah.
Like, there's a possibility that people are just not going to care.
We're so asleep about issues that don't directly affect them.
Best writes, if Trump and Pence both were colluding with Russia and they both go to jail, Ryan will ascend to the presidency, keep the status quo, and introduce a hard right American system. Absolutely, Best. That's the problem. But that's one of the problems. Let me go into the foreground and do that beam real quick. So yeah, so that's what's up in American politics. But more immediately, Twitch and all the companies, it's funny how when it's on any other social issue, Google, Facebook, etc., they're silent. But when it comes to protecting their own interests on the internet, they are very active. And they should be. Best writes, the scary thing is that he's not, Paul Ryan, is not as crazy as Donald Trump. He knows how to blame the game to win, and Trump doesn't. If Ryan's president, there will be so many bills and they will all be passed. We will have an entirely new country in a month. It's scary, but it's actually true. Because they will be, Republican leadership will have a face that they actually like in the White House. The only way to stop that is for, I don't know who, I don't know what his district is, but if they could vote against him, then that would get him out of office. But that's not gonna happen, unfortunately. Don writes, don't worry, guys. Kanye will be the next president for sure. That being said, I don't think we should have another celebrity president. I don't like the idea of The Rock entertaining a presidential run in 2020. I don't.
Rock the Dwayne Johnson wants to be president.
And that's not to say that he's a bad guy, or that his policies won't be in line with things that I find helpful. But he's not a politician. Just in the same way that you wouldn't trust a dentist, you wouldn't trust him to be a dentist to operate on your teeth. It takes time, training, and time and training to learn how to be a proper politician, assuming that your values don't corrupt and over time.
He's going to use the phrase "the most electrifying man in politics," and that's just going to make me so sad.
Well, it'll get him elected. Like, unfortunately, the same sort of meme.
Popularity contest these days.
Exactly. Like, as much as we like Barack Obama and as qualified as he was, he won on a meme. Yes, we can. And I'm going to be the black president who fixes everything. That was his meme. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's meme was, I'm the guy who's not part of the system. Despite the fact that all the evidence to the contrary. And I can fix everything because I'm not part of the system. So Dwayne Johnson has a pretty good shot at the presidency because he's a meme. And he represents a sort of non-active change that people can get behind. I did my part. I put you in power. Now I can just sit back and let you fix everything. Ignoring that you can't just do that. You have to be actively involved. Don writes, it would be sick though. First Lady Kim Kardashian, bruh. Yeah.
What?
Well, cause Don's running off the president's premise if Kanye became president rather than if The Rock became president. Don writes, lol, for sure, if Obama did a third time, he would win, I think. Oh, Obama would have absolutely crushed Trump in last year's election. He absolutely would have crushed him. But here's the problem. You can't run a third time. And we have those rules for a reason, because if a person runs for a third time, what's to stop them from running for a fourth time and a fifth time? And then suddenly they're president for life. And then suddenly you don't have a presidency, you have a monarchy. And that's the exact sort of thing we kind of, fought an entire war to get away from. So we can't have him be president. Like, it would be nice. Would it be nice? Yes, absolutely. But we have those rules for a reason. So, Drastic, what are you working on tonight?
I'm just playing some Overwatch.
Nice. You gonna stream it?
I might a little later.
Yeah, I kind of want an Elgato capture card just to maybe be able to stream Mario Kart at some point. Maybe practice my acting chops a little bit. Yeah, I mentioned acting in Mario Kart in the same sentence. Well, cause like when I play with you guys, like, if I'm playing with people who aren't as good, and I'm not like knocking you, that's just how it is. Like, I can't be as expressive or emotive as I want to be, because then that's kind of showboating, right?
It did not stop you though.
Well, yeah, but I was a lot more sly about it.
I don't think you were, but you're okay.
But oh no, I could totally turn that up if I really wanted to. But you get what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like when you play with but then when you're on stream, you kind of have to be an emotive personality. So yeah, it's like working on that on Twitch via streaming Mario Kart would probably be cool. Don writes, do you think Michelle Obama will go for president in 2020? I don't think so. I think it would be cool if she did, but I don't think she will. It's important to note that while after Bill Clinton was president, well, one, Hillary was always involved in politics when she was, shoot. Let me move that, because I need to move that down a little bit. But it's important to note that just because Hillary was the first lady doesn't mean that she wasn't always involved in politics. She after Bill's term ended, she ran as a senator for New York, I think. But she was always involved in politics. She stayed in the game. Michelle has kind of indicated that that's not something that she wants to do, or at least she hasn't made it clear if that's something that she does want to do. So you can't really. So it's not likely that she wants to run for office. And we're seeing that you kind of, just like in art, you have to pay your dues. Like in this, on Twitch, how I was streaming for a little bit before Best and Panda showed up and helped me push my stream forward. And even a little bit before I met Jen Sese Art, and she helped me make my stream. I was still doing it for a while. You have to pay your dues. So yeah, Michelle running for office, not likely. Would it be nice? Oh, absolutely. But it's probably not going to happen. That being said, it's possible. So there is that. Like Hillary, the difference between Hillary and Michelle is that Michelle was a scholar and a lawyer who happened to move into the Oval Office. Hillary was always a politician, and so when she was perfectly primed to become the first to become a politician by Bill's presidency. Like, I honestly have no idea who's going to run in for the opposite Donald Trump in 2020, assuming that the Republicans don't just dethrone him and nominate their own candidate. I kind of want to imply a bit of a background here, even if the factory is falling apart.
Defeat.
And I don't like these lines, so we're gonna start fresh.
Oh my god.
What's up?
This Overwatch stuff.
Oh, you gotta describe it for the stream, Drastic. I'm busy.
My team got bulldozed by Bastion because they didn't know how to not be bulldozed by Bastion. They just all ran in there, go home, got played.
Why is that trick like that?
Because I'm busy, Charlie, and I can't get you another piece of paper. Yeah, my niece is very slowly learning that I'm busy, and that means things. Don writes, it would be revolutionary if they put away Trump. It kind of would be, unfortunately. Like, this should have been a no-brainer because he should never have allowed to become president. The second that he said he wasn't going to divest his interests away from divest away from his interest holdings, that should have been a warning sign. That should have said, you can't be president. So there's that. When he became president, a part of my childhood died. I feel that. But I mean, now you've learned one of the hard things about being an adult. People are going to make choices that don't gel with what you want, and that's going to affect you. Well, I mean, it won't affect you because you don't live in a well, it doesn't affect you directly because you don't live in America, but the point still stands. Ay ay ay.
Cha 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 cha.
Well, more like I accidentally drew on my mask layer. Somebody Facebooked me. Or somebody's Facebooking you, not me.
Oh, my roommate's Facebooking me. He's watching Fate of the Furious.
I was gonna say, like, if he's your roommate, why isn't he just doing it from the same room and all that? But yeah, that makes sense. Is it still in theaters?
What? No, he's watching it on demand.
Ah.
1 versus 6. You can do this, do you? Hell no, you can't do this.
Well, it's funny because Don writes, yeah, and then I realized he was in Home Alone 2. Yeah, he was, and that's actually a big problem with our American politics system. On the end of normal Americans, that whole idea that we don't really know our politicians and we don't care unless there's somebody quote unquote famous. Like Donald Trump is very good at being a celebrity. That's not something that should be held against him. That's just a statement of fact. But being a good celebrity and being good at being famous does not make you a good politician. And that's something that he's learning right now. Oof.
Oh, crap.
Cool. Alright. I think I've added way too much detail to this beam, and that's okay. I mean, that's the fun part about inking, is that once you know your character and your environment and your settings, it's not hard to want to add details to flesh things out. Like the lines do point to the Crimson Fly hanging on the beam. Let's see. Text. So, oof. text. And make that a 0. So how's your day, Drastic?
Rather uneventful.
Wait, do you have school right now?
School? No, summertime.
Well, you say that, but I have school, and it's summertime.
You working in college? I work in elementary school.
You never know if there's a summer session or something like that. But you get my drift, though.
I do know, that's the thing.
Well, fair enough. So, oof. Yeah, it's funny. One of my favorite streamers dropped a link to his voice chat in the chat box, and I figured that it was gonna go to some. That was weird.
I just realized I was in a 6-on-1.
Versus you or versus the opponent?
Team was dead for quite some time.
That's a problem. So,
This game's a team-based game, and nobody wants to play this game like a team-based game. Like, I'm doing me, and they get killed.
Gotta find better teammates, man. But
solo queuing, so it's like I'm with randoms every time.
Meanwhile, Panda joins the skip stream. Hey, Panda, long time no see. I am busy.
But you left my dolphin stuffed animal in the breeze.
Well, that's somebody else's problem right now. No, do not open that door. But anyway, hey, welcome to the skip stream, Panda. How are you doing tonight? Oof. But, yeah, so what's going on right now? So, yeah, so I popped into one of my favorite streamers, and they left a link for their voice Discord in the chat, and like an idiot, I just clicked the link because I was like, oh, something awesome must be happening. And, so I went to their, I clicked the link, and then next thing I know, I'm in their voice chat, and I'm like, oh, no. Why did I do that? Ah, crud.
Hi, big fan.
Well, it's more along the lines of I don't want to embarrass myself, which is why I normally stick to chat, because with a text chat, I can actually type out what I want to say, edit it, revamp it, etc., etc. Whereas if I'm just speaking, it's very easy to shove my foot in my mouth. So I didn't want to embarrass myself by like super gushing hardcore over the artist. But it all worked out. But it also resulted in me not doing any of the work I said I was gonna do for myself. Because I just started talking and we just started doing memes, and I missed almost all my posts and all of that jazz. So that was fun. Oof. So how's everybody doing tonight? I know Don is redefining what his internal clock looks like. I don't know what Best is doing, but probably working on another pinup. And
and your boy with the triple.
So Don writes, do you know the name of Jim Carrey's co-star in Dumb and Dumber? I believe it was Jeff. Shoot. Dumb and Dumber cast. It's not Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Daniels. So what makes you say that, Don? Because the name of the guy is Jeff Daniels. TXT.
Boot, bitch.
P01. Crim fly. And let's put that where it belongs. Put that in the text folder. So we're gonna name that text. Always label your layers because you never know who needs to use it next. So if you don't label your layers, then people don't know what's on each layer and they have to click through everything to make sure that they understand what's going on. So, oof. I just want to check something really quickly. Okay, cool. So that is the right spacing. Oof. And in red, make that invisible. Don writes, yeah, that guy, have you seen a screech about the U.S. not being the greatest country in the world anymore? Oh, yeah. You gotta remember, Don, not to play, oh, okay, I'm gonna play the age card, but I'm older than you, and I've probably seen things before you did. But yeah, no, if you could find a link to that and just drop it in the chat for people to check out, that'd be much appreciated. Thank you. Because I know I would really appreciate it. Mostly because I'm drawing right now and I can't go looking for it for myself.
Busted ass. I think I may turn on the stream after this one.
Awesome.
Symmetra's going too hard. You're gonna get shot.
Oof. Line work. I'm gonna call that mood. And then go into the foreground. And we're gonna duplicate this on top of that.
All right. Are you flying bird, bitch? I hate when I do something good and then my team just ends up dead. Boring as hell. So make the bird woman come to you. She can fly and you can't.
There we go. I want that real quick. Go into the character layer. Oops, wrong layer. Don't worry, Don. It's impressive that you know 2 languages at all. Most people can only learn 1 in their entire lifetime. And I don't know about you, but I'm really glad that you chose English for your second one.
Already hollering, I need healing.
Alright, and let's give that some motion.
Your teammates are stupid. You gotta keep healing.
And what? Why did this slide over?
Everybody's going cowboy. I can't keep all you idiots alive.
And if you could elaborate for the stream, Drastic.
I'm playing healer and everyone wants to die. It's very frustrating.
I can imagine.
Band-aids, 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 band-aids. You. It's 2-on-5. We should win this, barring any idiocy. Oh, she did. Get your ass in there. Get your asses in there. I got Rez. What the hell are you doing? I think we're about to lose because my team is stupid.
Never underestimate the power of stupidity in large quantities.
I just briefly am like, all right, cover me. I've got Rez, and they all let's run in the opposite direction.
I think also the other issue is like you're not able to communicate with them too.
Well, I can.
Well, I mean like through voice chat and all that jazz. Or
I can do that.
Oh.
And I gotta play the game.
Hmm?
I don't do it a whole lot like I'm on your stream, so I'm not like,
yeah.
Over there, over there, over there. I get to watch me boot the lady off the cliff for to play the game.
Hmm.
And the chat's filled with LOLs. Where is Jiggy?
No idea. Well, she is saying like she's in the process of renovating her house.
True.
I think that's basically the big thing holding her back from streaming consistently right now.
I've been streaming Ark on Thursdays. Tonight I'm trying to possibly stream some gaming. Like, I don't really want to stream just me solo queuing constantly. I don't know how entertaining that's going to be. I mean, I'll be entertained. But
Well, you'd be surprised. Sometimes the things that you don't like, you'd be surprised what people find entertaining.
you never
Like
know such and such. I'm trying to play with someone else so I can like talk to them. Communication isn't something that happens a great deal in this game.
Mm-hmm.
When you go into competitive, people won't shut the hell up. Like regular quick play in arcades and just like.
Well, and of course, then you have that issue of like, I need to talk to you to coordinate attacks, but I also don't want to put up with the verbal diarrhea that comes out of your mouth.
I don't feel like you have to talk a whole lot.
I am busy.
Did you eat my linguine?
Hmm?
Did you eat my linguine again?
No, wait. Hold up. I might have.
Cooking dinner right now.
Brandon, this
That's great. I'm busy. You can scream at me later, but right now I'm busy, and I'm running really thin right now on patience. Like I said, you can scream at me later, but right now I'm busy. Charlie, not right now.
skip interruptions. Skip stream.
Well, I'm kind of irritated because I don't have a lot of money right now because my job just started back up again. So like there's that. Then I came, yesterday my sister called me at work because she assumed that, oh well, I know his old time, so I'm gonna call him at work and not assume that if he's not home right now, then maybe he's busy. So she called me at work to tell me that she had fed what was going to be tomorrow's lunch to my niece, and I didn't have, because I was in the middle of lecture, I didn't have the chance to say, hey, look, I don't have the money to be giving away the food like normally I would. I don't have that money right now. So, and then my niece keeps interrupting tonight, and so it's just with the stream of like, I don't, like normally, it is what it is, and she has a right to be mad, but right now, like, my patience for her is running very, very thin right now. So there is that. Alright. Oof. The worst part is that I actually had to like build up to being angry again. So now I'm like, okay, well, let's go back to being normal. Which is hard. Plus, it didn't help that my nap ran a little long. One of these days I'm gonna figure out how to do that. Cause like I need naps during the day nowadays, like an old man. Or at least if I have a day where I can take a nap during the day, I want to take it. Oof. I also didn't get as much work done today as I would have wanted to, so there is that.
We're playing Overwatch tomorrow. Oh, come on, Nick. Nick Kirshner just messaged me. He's like, we're playing Overwatch tomorrow, damn it. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah, well, people got their schedules. At least I think people have their schedules. I don't know, if I didn't have to do this, I wouldn't have a schedule for it.
He's probably just busy.
Yeah, well, and it is a game.
Yeah. I mean, he plays plenty of games, but I wasn't not planning on playing this one.
Let's call that mood.
Cups. That's serious, right?
Huh?
I was curious as to whether my team was serious right now for just like leaving me in the lurch when I was getting ready to pick up some kills.
What do you think the answer is?
Like, I got the hell out of Dodge, and only to find out you'd already abandoned me. No wonder my power just dwindled like that. I have a murderous bird lady trying to murder my face off. I got no mech, just my feety pajamas. I'm trying to survive.
Oh, are you playing Diva?
Yeah. Oh, you're not hooking me, sir. No. Thank you.
And line work.
Back in Necktown.
And mood.
I'm just gonna boop him off the point, and we win.
I don't know, what does the text say? This is a problem with cross-panel texting. Oof. Oof. Sorry I'm so quiet, everybody. I usually work better off of questions and also just responses in the audience, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm a little quiet.
We also need jigs and whimsy. Excuse me, I'm going to shoot my daughter out of the sky. Jesus, why is everybody dead so fast? Half my team dies, and then like the fourth one runs in like, what's going on down there? Good job, Scamber. Words with my daughter, please. I almost got it.
And F8, convert that to a symbol. And change the number. And in the panels, put in 2. Read text, okay. Text. Bubble.
Jesus.
And break that.
Cheeky flanks, cheeky flanks. One for the cheeky flank. Oh! Sniping bitch.
Alright, so there's two. And let's actually flesh those out a little bit so they don't look like the sides of a wall.
Stop dying, you morons! Victory!
Let's apply a background beyond that.
Nothing's more hilarious than watching a man named Cake murder 5 people.
A man named Cake? Is that his username? Like Cake,
Yeah.
or just a man named Cake?
His username is Cake.
I don't know, I feel like that would have been funnier if it's like, yeah, my username is a man named Cake.
Legend tells of a man named Cake. Say he was one bad hombre. I'm going live after this with some Lego Worlds.
I'm not gonna stick on the Overwatch?
Yeah, I'm just gonna chill out and build things.
That sounds nice.
Maybe I'll build a log cabin with a skyscraper attached to the top. Just because I can.
Flesh out just a little bit more. Oh hey, Don, thanks for the link. Watch it again and it still gives me chills. Well, because the hope was that, and that's kind of the problem with talking about politics in any sort of, cartoon or form of media, is that the audience expects resolution for whatever plot line you've introduced, because to them it's just a story. But the problem with real life is that real life doesn't resolve that way. It's not a story. It's real life. And so, like, at the end of the show, the girl becomes an intern and she starts working towards her dream of, like, changing the United States. And Jeff Daniels' character is not as bitter as he was about politics when he started.
Somebody wants to talk.
But in TV land, stories can end. Like, you can write a story about how Donald Trump got impeached and run that as the main hook of your season. Like, the season is Donald Trump takes power, and at the end of the season, Donald Trump is removed from power. They found the Russia evidence. He gets impeached, and they find the Russia evidence. He gets impeached, and happily ever after. And then all of his collaborators are arrested with him. But real life doesn't work like that. Even if we do know that Donald Trump colluded with Russia, we Drastic, this is going a little too far into the game interrupting the stream.
Well, it's muted now.
Okay, cool, thank you. So the story should we can't have the story end because it's not a story. Like, we still have to prove it, because otherwise, if we don't prove it, then the time that Donald Trump's successor, or whoever that might be on a progressive end, the Republicans can say, well, hey, you did this to Donald Trump, we're going to do this to your person. So, and Don writes, well, the video was obviously made for a TV series, but that's scary that real life is like what you say. Well, because most of these things draw from real life. It's hard to, it's one of those things where you can't not bring in real life to whatever you're making in some way, shape, or form. There's always some form of politics, and not necessarily the overt politics like healthcare, whoever's going to be president, or laws and stuff like the net neutrality. Those aren't going to be overtly in the stories, but they still are informed by politics of some sort. Superman, as you may or may not have heard, is an immigrant story. And at a time where the Americas were America still really isn't very friendly to immigrants who don't look like Superman. What else? Black Panther comes about at a time where there aren't a lot of African superheroes or African American superheroes for people to watch. By the virtue of the fact that there are literally no other women on the Justice League, Wonder Woman is important. Like, you can't separate some shows, movies, cartoons, comics, video games tend to be overtly political, aka this was very much about something that just recently happened. But a lot are subtly about the politics of whoever made them, and they can't remove their politics from whatever it is that they make, no matter how much they claim otherwise. Everything is political in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, brother. I muted that.
Well, it is Overwatch and it is PC gaming. You'll never mute everything.
Where the hell did the monkey go?
So Drastic, do you like have a custom mic for your setup?
Don't.
I'll take that as a no.
I have a mic, but I'm using the webcam is what's plugged up right now.
Also, you can't do both at the same time.
What?
Because I mean, like
both at the same time.
Like using the mic and the webcam at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The webcam has the mic. That's the only reason the microphone's not plugged up.
Because I run mine separately. Is both the microphone and the head and the. I mean, granted, like the camera doesn't have a microphone, but even if it did, I'd be like, well, you're not a microphone. Let's use the microphone. Don writes, another reason he's freaking 71 years old. I mean, logically, we live longer than him, so it's kind of screwed up stuff that, so like a younger president. Well, I mean, the idea behind that is that an older person should have more wisdom, in theory. Note that, in theory. But he's not really judged on that because you would guess, I would guess he looks like he's in his mid-60s, not his 70s. But he doesn't look like it, and he doesn't act like it. And that's not in the sense that he acts more mature than 70, or he acts younger than 70, but he acts very immaturely for his age, so it makes him seem younger than he actually is. He's very much of the variety of the, he should know better, but he acts as if he doesn't. And that makes him seem younger than he actually is in a very twisted fashion. Alright, stop recording, take a break. Like, you'd be surprised how many people don't actually look their age. Like, again, look at me. I look like I'm 15 or 20. At the oldest, I look like I'm 21. At the oldest, I sound like I'm 19. And yet, I'm more than 10 years older than that. So, it is what it is. Oof. Although, I guess in regards to Whimsy and Jiggy, they probably just like, they're probably just tired because they probably had a really big day, so.
I shall message them forthwith. Let's see.
The only thing that Don's scared of is Kim Jong-un in Pyongyang. I'm less scared of what Kim Jong-un will do and more what he will incite. Because the problem with nukes is that as soon as somebody finds out that you've got them, and as soon as they find that you're firing them, the next thing that they're going to do is they're going to fire their own. So basically, on his own, Kim Jong-un isn't a super major threat. Russia could nuke him, the US could nuke him, and the entire EU's got a collectively bigger military than North Korea. The only thing stopping anybody from marching in is that that's still a war on any scale is still costly. You can't, and not only that, but morally, you can't just do that. You can't go in and change other people's countries. That's just not right. So what they need to do, so he's not a super crazy threat. The problem is that nukes are still dangerous. If we attack him, either because we attack them either because we feel the need to show off, or because in retaliation, the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to hit our allies in South Korea, or they're going to hit people that we are neutral to in China. Nobody wants that, especially with nukes. Unfortunately, the only leverage Pyongyang has against the West is nukes. So they're going to keep trying to develop them as best they can, because it's basically the poor if a person is being accused by a cop wrongly so, then and they have a gun, the cop says basically, give me your gun and I won't shoot you. The wrongly accused person has no reason to believe that they're not going to get shot, so they're not going to throw away their gun. Well, and that's the thing with Don, is that I think we're reaching an age where there's really no such thing as a quick war. Like the war on terror is proving that. The Syrian civil war and a lot of the issues in the Middle East are proving that we don't live in an era, because our weapons are so advanced and the nature by which wars are started and won are changing. There's no such thing as a quick war anymore. Like, even for the Americas, the most powerful nation in the world, or at least at the time of 9/11, one of the most powerful nations in the world, they figured they would just waltz into Iraq, capture Osama bin Laden, break up the Taliban, and then walk. Maybe find a victory. Maybe claim a small victory by finding Saddam Hussein's weapons of mass destruction. More than 10 years later, we're still dealing with the fallout of that. And I think we'll be lucky if our kids finally get all the way out of Afghanistan. If we haven't found somebody else to be mad at in that time frame. Like, we don't live in an era of quick wars anymore. Mostly because our weapons are too good, and when you're fighting against a government you can force it to change. Well, that's one thing. But when you're fighting against ideas, or freedom fighters, well, that goes on for a long time, and we're learning that sometimes that just doesn't heal. So the best way to avoid it is to just not get involved in the first place. Well, the problem that we're starting to find out now is that while the generation that came immediately after World War II learned a lot about World War II, the generations before, we've kind of grown drunk on peace. That idea that, like, oh, well, we learned our lesson and we're not going to do it anymore, but what if we just send the troops here? That's necessary, right? And it isn't, but we do it anyway. What else I'm looking for? I mean, the fact that Donald Trump can claim he knows more than the generals. I mean, one, he's lying out of his butt, but that's the arrogance that comes from a man who's never been in a conflict, who's never been in a difficult conflict in his life, or where all of his problems were solved for him by somebody else. So of course he can say to himself, oh yes, I can easily do that. I've never had problems before, so obviously this is not a problem now. It's the sort of arrogance of, well, I have no problems now, so therefore I would never have problems. And we're starting to learn that that's not true. But we have to sort of learn that lesson before this gets too far out of hand. Like, the ultimate goal of humanity is to reach a state wherein nothing is too difficult for anybody to achieve, and everybody can be who they want to be without much effort. That's the ultimate end goal of humanity. But the thing is that you also have to be careful along the way to make sure that you don't ever forget the lessons of the people who paid for you to be where you are now. Right, that's a problem. I'm gonna have to change that. Oh, I know what I'll do. Ooh, definitely I don't want to do that. Oh, I guess we lost Drastic. I guess he went to go on Twitch. That's too bad. Don writes, lol, I'm gonna go steal a spaceship from NASA and go to Mars. Well, I would advocate against doing that, actually. Mostly because as human beings, with the chance to fix things, let me change this one's mask. Lock that layer. If you have the chance to fix things, it's a lot better to fix things than it is to run away, to go someplace else and change them. Like, at one point, I'm gonna have to talk to my sister about my bad habits, and make peace with her about that, and vice versa too. And that's a lot better than me running away from the problem and saying, well, this, and not all the other crap. You're much more stable if you can fix your problems rather than relying on on a system to fix it for you. So what's next? Let's do. Yeah. We're gonna save the fun part for last. Because believe me, I would totally love to go to Mars and run away from America. Heck, I'd love to run away from where I live right now. But that presents even more problems. It just makes more sense, for me personally, to stay and deal with my problems and to run away and not fix them. And believe me, I have a lot of problems that I need fixing. Exactly, Don. We should fix the planet first and make that a good place to live, and then we can go exploring. Fine, go. You can get out. Castle can't look. He wants to get out. Whew. Exactly. But even then, before you even go to affect people in South America, or in Africa, or in any other place, we all need to make the places where we live currently good places to live first, and then we can go ask people who ask for our help. Ooh, I don't know where this cold is coming from. Let's turn that down all the way to 0. Put the smoothing at 0.2. Let's see how rough my hands are. Also because they're too clean for what I want. Alright, I still need a little bit of a leeway when it comes to drawing, so I'm going to put that back to normal. deselect that and group that. Let's go in here so I can see what I'm doing properly. We want this to be sort of crumbling apart. Don writes, so do you think we can go to the moon in our lifetime? I think it's highly unlikely, but I ultimately do think it is possible for us to go to the moon. I do think it's possible. I think ever since we did it the first time, it's been possible and it's stayed possible. But the logistics of getting enough people to agree on what needs to be done are such that you can't, you would need Russia, China, the US, and the European Union to get along long enough to send people to the moon. And this would take several years. Not just like for the initial trips, because we have better rockets now, but to colonize the moon and be able to sustain life on it, I do very much think that's possible within our lifetime. Like if America can elect its first black president, and I didn't think Barack Obama. I did not see anybody like Barack Obama coming within my lifetime. I didn't. So if that can happen, I think we absolutely can go to the moon. Or same thing with this comic that I'm working on. I mean, I knew that I'd be working on comics and cartoons, but an animated comic book, that's something that's science fiction to me. A comic book that moves. That's science fiction to me. The fact that we're... Woo! Cat Cartel is now hosting my stream? Aw, thanks, Cat. Much appreciated.
I returned.
Hey, Drastic, where'd you go?
Just setting some stuff up. Running my Lego World stream now.
Because I was like, I noticed I was talking to myself, and I'm like, huh, that's too bad. But, yeah, like, Don Bosco was asking if I think we can go to the moon. I'm like, yeah, if we can make a black president, then absolutely.
You made it sound like we built him.
No, but, I mean, I can't speak for you or anybody else, but, like, I honestly didn't think that we were going to have a black president anytime in my lifetime. Like, the thought never occurred to me. I just kind of figured for the rest of my life, like, they'd all be white and male until, like, except in sci-fi stuff.
Until the time that Keith David ran.
I'm being raided. Ah, crud. I'm being raided because Scarlett just hosted me, which means that her IRL chat, her IRL one just ended, which means that I'm gonna be raided. It's gonna be glorious. At least I'm pretty sure I'm being raided. If I'm not being raided, I will eat my words, but I'm pretty sure I'm being raided. Sadly, I don't have defenses, so I'm just gonna have to sit here and take it. Or I'm not being raided, and that's okay. I'm just being hosted. Oh, that's too bad, because raids are so much fun. Well, anyway, oh, so she went out for her birthday dinner. Oh, yay. Oh, right, it's her birthday tonight. I forgot about that. Crap. Which is weird, because I'm, like, friends with her on Facebook. Facebook did not warn me of this. Shoot, I wish I'd been on the stream then. Well, anyway, all of kiddos from the Fox Den, thank you for popping by. Hope you're having fun. My name is Colin SkipperWing Bird, and welcome to the Skip Stream. How are you guys doing tonight? Also, Kat, how are you doing tonight? Because thank you for the host. First and foremost, thank you for the host. And also, Kat, if you want to jump on the Skip Stream's voice chat on Discord, that's totally cool too. Let me drop the link to the Discord in the chat. Invite peeps. Copy link address.
So we're doing that thing where my computer runs fine, but I try to stream, and all of a sudden my computer wants to not run fine.
Oh, I'm sorry, dude.
Actually, it's my wireless card. Like, I don't know why it does that. I got a new one. It still does that. It just
maybe
sometimes decides, you know what? Nah, and then it doesn't.
Maybe it's OBS. Don writes, lol, what I don't understand is that it's been more than 50 years. What's there been on the moon? Why not a second time or many times to explore on the moon? And I think with the technology, we can do more on the moon. And also, hi, Kat. Kat writes, oh, I'm doing great, thanks. My internet is spotty right now, but if it wasn't, I would join ya. Oh, that's too bad. But anyway, thank you for the support anyway, because I appreciate that. So to answer Don's question, it's greed. Most people don't know what they can get out of being on the moon yet. Like, when we went to the moon the first time, it wasn't really out of a sense of exploration. It was basically to say, ha, screw you, we got here first. And then once we got there, we didn't really know what to do because we didn't have the tech to stay there. And the tech to stay on the moon, well, it didn't exist until recently. So yeah, so it's greed because we don't really know what we get out of going to the moon. And the benefits of going to the moon are not going to really present themselves in the lifetimes of the people who would need to pay for it. Like, you're talking about trillions of dollars on experiments to see if we can even find some way of staying there. Like, we might not find a way to stay there. I mean, heck, we're having a hard enough time just getting back out into space sustainably. And this is all for an experiment. So if it doesn't work, the companies, and yes, the companies, not the governments, the companies that would support this would be out trillions of dollars. That's not a gamble that they can afford right now. And so that's why we're not doing it anymore. Like, if they do it, it's out of the goodness of their hearts. It's like investing in the arts or investing in education. You're not going to see a immediate monetary value out of it. You're going to have to trust that the people that you support, that you raise up, are going to invest back in. It's like when you give out a scholarship. Like, when you give out a scholarship, that money's gone. Like, it goes to the school. And you have to hope that the person who's graduating, sorry, let me see if there's music. Is that another tab open? Okay, that dialogue is part of the music. Didn't know that. Alright, so we did all the boring parts. Well, almost all the boring parts. We kind of need to fill in this space. Oops. Yeah, this one. There we go, lock that. Well, that's just it, Don. As much as I'm poo-pooing the idea of us going to the moon, it is possible. It very much is possible, and it will forever be possible. Hey, it's Dean the artist. Dean writes, hey, skipping friends. I see what you did there. The skipping friends. And Cat writes, hi. Well, the thing is that, and something that our society has trouble struggling with, is that there's no reward without some sort of risk. Dean writes, came to get my daily dose of awesome. That's good, Dean, because I'm not staying on as long as I normally do today. I'm going to be doing this comic, and then I'm going to call it a night, and we're going to go host somebody else. We might raid somebody else, but we're probably just going to host. Mostly because I guess I have a lot of work to do tonight. Meanwhile, I'm making a door look as awesome as I can. Yeah, as I say, you probably want to pocket the Hitler jokes, Don. And boop, boop. And the cool thing is that actually, Dean, you came in on the best part. We're gonna start drawing the crimson. We're gonna start inking the Crimson Fly rather than working on background stuff. So we're almost done with that, with the background stuff. And then we're going to dip into the Crimson Fly. So we're done with that door. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to dip into illustrating the Crimson Fly. So if you remember from my last stream, this was all kind of rough. So we're going to...
Internet?
Huh?
I hate my internet.
Oh, is it being wonky?
Only when I stream, it just likes to periodically die. Bleh.
Well, to be fair, streaming is kind of supposed to be internet intensive.
I've done way more internet intensive things on this card and been fine.
Maybe your computer's getting old?
This computer's like a year old.
I got nothing.
Me either. I'm quite confused.
Then again, that seems to be common like for everybody. Like Jiggy's got problems. Jen Sese Art's got art. Well, she's got problems. I mean, she's got art too. But I
found a comfortable level of music for my live stream. So like the people that come to my stream can hear the music, but I can't really hear it.
That's weird.
It's playing right now. I've got it low so like it's not overbearing.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Cat loves. I love all the details you do with your line art. It's inspiring. So now I'm gonna like go in and overline everything because I'm like, oh man, I gotta impress Cat. But yeah, that's why my roughs are so rough, or at least I try to make my roughs as clean as possible. Because I used to be just a very, very rough streamer. So let's save that. So for those of you who are new to the Skip stream, for those who are popping by from Scarlett's stream, I don't work in like straight like 4-hour bursts. What I do is I like to work in half-hour bursts and take a 3-minute break. I know it says 5 on the break timer, but I take a 3-minute break between spurts so that way I can sort of recharge my mojo. But actually, before I do that, let me show you guys what the other things I've been working on recently. So let's go back to where it says streaming, and I'm going to share my break doing that. So as you may or may not know, or as you can probably see, I actually have a affiliate status on Twitch, and so I was like, oh no, I have to go make emotes and all of that jazz. So I also have a Discord where I made emotes for that, and so I figured I'd kill two birds with one stone. I'd make emotes for Discord, and then I'd also make emotes for Twitch as well. So if you subscribe, you'll have access to Skip Main. I know it says Skip Basic, but it's my main one. It's just my face. You'll have access to Skip Thumbs Up. No, Skip Basic, Skip Hype, and Crim Fly Hype. So Skip Basic at the basic level. Skip Hype at the $9 level, and then Crim Fly Hype at the $24 level. And then, of course, the other thing I want to start doing is I want to start doing custom animated GIFs for subscribers. Because not just an illustrator, I'm also an animator. Like the character dancing in the other corner. I actually animated. That's my custom character, the Crimson Fly, from my webcomic, The Crimson Fly. The other thing I'm working on is too bad. I don't know if Agent is still here. Let me see if I can find it. Currently working on a Sonic the Hedgehog GIF. Because Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces is coming out soon. And so I wanted to do something to celebrate that. And also, I don't know, maybe get some more eyes on my stuff. So, oops. Let's test that out real quick. So currently in the process of cleaning it up. But, oh wow, there's more to it than that. There we go. And a breakdance. And that's pretty much what I do. You can also find my stuff on Instagram. Participate and Blut. Blut means out of money. Oh yeah, like Adon, you should probably at some point start up a Twitch channel where you explain how to speak Dutch to everybody. Because that'd be cool. It's so cool that like we're learning all these little bits and pieces of how to speak speak Dutch through your chat. And I'm out of juice. Kat writes, you already impressed me. Oh, well, thanks, Kat. Don's gonna subscribe. Don would have subscribed. Is gonna go subscribe on Friday, but today I'm broke. You don't have to. Again, I appreciate the follows anyway. And then Dean writes, you're so smart. Well, thanks, Dean. But I don't think I'm smart. I think I'm surrounded by smart people, if that makes sense. Also, Pray to Jesus is watching. Hey, Pray to Jesus. Oops, that's the wrong screen. We're not going on break. We're going back to work. So let's zoom in on this a little bit and start recording. I have no words. What's the, actually, no, I do. Hey, Don, what's the Dutch word for animation? And also, do you like have any TV shows that you watch that are named named differently in Dutch than they are in the US? All right, so as cool as it is to have that head like overlapping the entire body, that's not cool because we kind of do want to see the entire body a little bit anyway. So we're gonna zoom that out a little bit. Animatier. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation, but that's actually kind of cool. I also wonder because like one of my favorite games is Super Smash Brothers, as Drastic will attest to. But what's actually cool about that is that a lot of characters, there's a few characters who have different names in different languages than they do in whatever language that you play the game in. So like in English, the fire Pokemon Charizard is called Charizard. However, if you're playing in Japan, the character's name is Lizardon, like a dragon, mix between a dragon and a lizard. However, if you're playing in French, then the character's name is Dracofeu. Oh, that's too bad. Don writes, well, SpongeBob is the same as anime, but overall it's the same mostly. Oh, that's too bad, but that's also interesting too, that most of the things stay the same. And I think that goes back to that concept of branding. It's a lot easier to have one name than it is to have like 5 different names. And I think Sega is seeing the hard part of that in their character Dr. Robotnik, depending on where you got in on Sonic the Hedgehog. Like if you grew up in the if you grew up in Japan, or you got in on the Dreamcast era with Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, then you know him as Dr. Eggman, because in Japan his name was always Dr. Eggman. However, in the US, when they were importing it, they wanted the character to be taken seriously and not like a Teddy Roosevelt dude in pajamas, and so they renamed him to Dr. Robotnik. Which caused a lot of friction when they started localizing the 3D games, which had voice acting, and you wanted the lip flaps to match up, so they called him so you had to pick one or the other. So Sega's solution at first was just to call Robotnik. Robotnik is his real name. Dr. Ivo Robotnik is his real name, and then Dr. Eggman is his nickname that he repurposed from being an insult that Sonic gave him to the name of his empire. But even to this day, you'll have Sonic fans arguing about what the character's name actually is, even if it's officially Dr. Ivo Eggman Robotnik. So branding consistency is very important. It's important to have a name that people will either remember or that's easy to call back to if you need to. Hence SkipperWing. SkipperWing is pretty dang easy to remember. I got lucky in that it can be abbreviated to a ton of things. Like I love that most of you guys call me Skip rather than the full out SkipperWing. And it's the same thing with the Crimson Fly, where if you want, you can abbreviate it to Crimfly, which is what I do whenever I'm writing it out, and I need to get it in text immediately. So yeah, branding is important, and it's interesting that like that takes a precedent over language. Dean writes, for the longest time I thought Robotnik and Eggman were two separate people. Well, funnily enough, if you read the well, SkipperWing in Dutch is SkipperWing. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. I'm gonna put that into Google Translate after the stream, just so I can hear it for myself. Because that sounds really cool. If you read the Archie comics, actually, Eggman and Robotnik were actually two separate people. The reason for this is that when they originally wrote the Sonic the Hedgehog comics, they didn't expect them to go on for very long. Like, they wrote what they called the storyline called Endgame, wherein Princess Sally, who was basically the Princess Leia of Sonic comics, is killed, and Sonic is framed for it. With nothing to lose, Sonic goes and fights Dr. Robotnik in a final endgame. Eventually, it's revealed that Sally wasn't actually killed. Sally wasn't actually killed, and all the characters had their happy ending. The problem is that the higher-ups at Archie said, well, okay, what have you got next? And the creators were like, we don't have anything next. That was it. So for a while, the comic kind of sputtered for a while because they had no idea what they were going to do with the characters. So eventually, they decided that they were going to bring back Dr. Robotnik. But by this point, Sonic Adventure had already come out. And so what they decided to do was they'd have Dr. Robotnik, or Dr. Eggman, come from another reality where he had conquered the world, where he'd beaten Sonic and he'd won. And so what he decided to do is that since victory was boring, he decided to come over to the other world of where Dr. Robotnik was dead and take his place as Dr. Eggman. So in the comics, Dr. Eggman and Dr. Robotnik are two separate people. Don Bosco writes, no problem, but Skipper can be something else because of the translation of Skipper too. I mean, it also depends on what kind of thing you're going for with a Skipper. Like, you can be the occupation or just a person who skips a lot. I like to be both. Mooma the Troller writes, hey, welcome to Skipstream, Mooma. How are you doing tonight? So, fly bolts around there. So what's interesting to me is that I actually kind of wanted to think back to something that Cat wrote, which is that the lines always impress her, which I appreciate that as a compliment, and two, it's interesting because when I analyze my style, the usage of line, or rather the abuse of shadow, more or less comes from a uncomfortableness with color, and that's very interesting because if you guys have ever gone to Cat's stream. Hold up, Caster Cad Cartel. Like, Cat's an awesome painter, and you should really check out her stuff when she's online. But her use of color is amazing, and it's a lot more confident than mine. So it's very interesting to me how people use their styles to do different things. This is going to be so much fun to animate. And we're going to move that there. Meanwhile, Rain Novel writes, Scarlet forces me here at gunpoint. Oh, I'm sorry. She's not usually that violent. But I'm here. I'm glad that you're here anyway, Rain. How are you doing tonight? And also, do you stream too? Or are you an artist? Because if you are, please feel free to drop a link in the chat box. Love checking out new people's art, and I also love giving people space to showcase their stuff. You never know who's gonna follow you when the opportunity arrives. And let's see, group that. And let's see, I kind of want to adjust this a little bit. Rain writes, she's very violent towards me. Always steals my money. Ah, so you're a subscriber, huh? At least I'm gonna guess you're a subscriber. Yeah, there we go, because that implies the curve a little bit better. So what I'm doing there is I'm foreshortening the leg. The Crimson Fly does actually have very weird legs, but I also am foreshortening them so that to sell the effect of them coming forward in space more. Rain writes, I stream my novel, but not my art. Okay, well, we'll do that anyway. So, caster, Rain, _ novel. So yeah, if you guys get a chance, feel free to check out Rain. I've just met her, or him, don't know. And yeah, because I've never actually been to a writing stream before. So I don't know how that works. How does that work? Okay, him, cool. Oh, thanks for the follow, Rain. Much appreciated. So yeah, like how does that work? Streaming the writing of a novel. Well, it's more of a group thing. Oh, okay, cool. But I'm just gonna let you type rather than trying to talk over you. Sorry, I get excited when I see things that I've never encountered before. Actually, we're gonna go in here. We're gonna grab this and we're gonna move it up a little bit. And delete that. The idea is we create scenes and then mold them into a story that's convincing. Oh wow. Hold on, let me throw you a follow because I kind of want to get in on this. I mean, I mean, I do kind of I don't want to take over or anything, or I don't want to be like crazy influential or anything like that. But I do want to check that out because that sounds very fascinating. And now that everything is in white, we're going to go in, everything's in red, we're going to make it white. And then we're also going to change the color of the hoodie. But, yeah, so that sounds very interesting. Sort of like a book meeting, a book meetup, if that makes sense. Alright, so that's in the wrong layer. So let's go into character and put that. Okay, so we're gonna need another mask. Paste that there. Alright, so now onto the next one. Let's make that invisible. And this one's gonna be in front. So we need to put that there. Oh, this is gonna be so much fun to animate. So there we have them zipping around the column. So we're gonna keep some lines there. Oof. And it's starting to get a little bit late because my contacts are starting to irritate my eyes. So hey, Drastic, are you still there? Well, I guess we lost Drastic because internet went spotty. The Real Dust Up writes, "Yo, Coach, how are you doing tonight, Dust Up? And also, how are you using emotes? Because I thought those were locked until the day of action was over." Let's add some motion lines to keep the motion nice and peppy. Dean writes, Drastic, no, he was so young. Actually, Drastic's not very young anymore. Oof. And then he was so young, and Don writes, hello, darkness, my old friend. The fun thing about motion lines is that they're easy to abuse, but they're hard to do right if you've never tried them before. So it's very interesting, because like you don't want to abuse them, because you don't want the shape to get lost. But at the same time, you still want to imply motion. So what I find that I usually do is I usually put them on the fringes of the line, like the outlines. I don't try to put them on Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, net neutrality is a thing that's in danger. It'll make Twitch a lot harder if it doesn't. I just realized the Crimson Fly's wearing a jacket. So let me adjust that so that we have the jacket. Because I forgot that the Crimson Fly is wearing a jacket, and the jacket is subject to the use of the laws of gravity too. Half empty. Quite simply. I'm saying, I just think different. Half full or half empty. Quite simply. So, I just think different. And Don writes, we made the 3:30 a.m. Boy. Dean calls him the Don Bot strikes again. So now we have the lines suggesting that the Crimson Fly is moving in action. You kind of want to imply that they're wrapping around the column. So we're going to break their toes real quick. And wrap that around. Mumo the Troller writes, if you publish your portfolio website, does it mean you can't go back and edit it or add things to it? No, actually you can. You can always go back and edit it. The idea that the things on the internet never die is rooted in the idea that if you want, you can right click and you can save everything that's ever appeared on the internet, and some way will find a way to preserve it as it was. That's why you want to be careful with what you upload, and why even I'm very careful about how I talk. Because this is being recorded even as I speak. And if somebody who doesn't like me really wants to, they can go back through all my Twitch archives to make sure to see if I said something that they can use against me. So that's what that means. In that nothing on the internet is gone forever. But as for portfolio sites, and really any sort of site, yeah, they're infinitely editable. And the only thing stopping them from being edited is you and how long you maintain control of your password. Before, it used to be really hard to go back and edit things. Like in the days before Squarespace and Wix and Blogger and all of them. And even Blogger to a certain extent. is not really as easy to use as it could be. So basically, that's why they say when you make your portfolio website, you want to be careful in how you do it, because going back and editing it is going to be a pain in the butt. I think what Don wants to know is where everybody's from. Because, I mean, and it's not really an unreasonable assumption to make. It's pretty reasonable to assume that most people live in the same time zone as the streamer. Like, I don't really know, like, as we know, like, Don's in Belgium, where it is 3:30 in the morning. Not really the best time to be catching people streaming, and which is why I appreciate whenever Don shows up. So it's not really a logical assumption. It's not really that far of a leap in logic to assume that everybody is possibly American. And of course, we all speak English. That's the easiest indicator. Now that being said, Rain is from Britain. I don't know what time it is where Rain is. I appreciate that Rain is here though. Don't get me wrong. 2:30, jeez. You guys are troopers. Either that or you really like streamers and you like streaming, and I appreciate that you guys are here. So thank you. Because currently where I am, it's only 9:40 in the evening. And where I want to be in the world, California, it's only 6:30. In fact, if I was in California, I think it would probably wouldn't be possible for Don to catch the streams, because I would probably go in streaming at 6 in the evening there, which would put me at, I don't know, whatever time it is there, at another 3 hours. So it would maybe be like 5 in the morning for you, Don, by the time I started streaming. So, Dean writes 9 p.m. squad. The real Dust Up writes, that's awesome, LOL. Not the only one's a late boy. Rain, give me a high five. Holds fists out. I think that might be it for that particular playlist, which is meant to go for like 4 hours straight. Well, I guess not. There's more to it. And let's see what time. Let's put 3 minutes on the work timer because I forgot to set the work timer. Save and start that because I forgot to set a work timer. Well, because Don writes fists back. Real Dust Up writes, okay, Skip, what's the deal with the future of Flash? Does it have one, and what's the deal with that? The short answer of that is that Flash is on life support. Like, it's perpetual life support machine, wherein everybody claims it's gonna die, but nobody can actually pull the trigger on it being dead completely. And the reason for that is that Flash is very easy to use and it's very easy to get your hands on. It not only is very easy to use, it's very easy to get your hands on, but also most people who grew up in the age of the internet, who are in charge of making things now, are still using it. So Flash really should not have a future, but it both does and does not have one. It's weird. Like in the case of what I do, I make a comic called The Crimson Fly. And so I need a Flash. Like, I don't just do Flash because I like it. And then that being said, I do like it. But I also do programming and illustration. And not all the other programs are really good for that. Let me meet that real quick. So if you ever get a chance to check out my animated comic book, The Crimson Fly, dropping a link in the chat. So like what I do, I need Flash because while I could do the animation in in Toon Boom Harmony, and I could do the illustration in Clip Studio Paint, I still would need to take them into Flash to do the programming, or a similar program. So it's just easier for me to just do everything in Flash. And then maybe export to Animate if I ever figure out how whatchamacallit works. What's the word? Unity? Yeah, that's the one I'm looking for. Flash should not have a future. But the fact that it's so easy to use and learn means that it will forever have a future. Like, the other thing is that programs like Toon Boom and OpenTunes are not as easy to use as Flash is. There was a reason why back in the late 90s and early 2000s, Newgrounds exploded with web animation. Flash is very easy to use and very easy to learn. Toon Boom, not so much. It's a better program for animators once you learn how to use it, but it's not very intuitive to get a handle on at first. You have to take a class for it. And when take the break. So when it comes to, I need to get this animation done next week versus while I still have to learn this program, versus, oh, just throw a motion tween on it. It's just easier. So yeah, so Flash should not have a future, but it does. And that future is very slowly diminishing as other programs are taking its place. Unity is better for developing games. There are other, most app developers are there's a market for making app developers, development software. There's that. OpenTunes and Toon Boom Harmony are better animation software, and Clip Studio Paint and Photoshop are better, better illustration programs. And to add on to that, Illustrator and Photoshop are owned by Adobe. So if they want to, they can drop Animate and not really lose much sleep. So there's that. I hope that answered the question, Dust Up. If not, just leave me a question and I can explain on it a little bit further. So Mumo writes, aside from Comic-Cons, are there other ways to easily speak with famous animators, voice actors, and actresses? Oh, absolutely. For one thing, you're doing it right now. I'm not famous, obviously, but their social media are easy ways for them to find them and get their advice on stuff. If you like Tara Strong, you can hit her up on Twitter, or Rob Paulson, or they're very active, or Mark Hamill, he's very active on Twitter, and they're very nice and polite. JonTron actually gets in a lot of hot water for actually talking to his fans too much. But you can always ask Aaron Hansen for advice. You can direct message them. The key is to be polite. Also, if they have a website or an email address where you can find them, that's also an easy way to find them too. Or you can just drop comments on their social media. So like how you're doing here in the chat wall, or on Instagram, you can check me out at SkipperWing, Instagram.com/SkipperWing, and you can drop comments on my stuff. Or on my YouTube channel. In fact, let me drop that information too. So these are the places where you can find me. YouTube, Crimfly. My personal email, which I'm trusting you guys not to abuse, is skipperwing@gmail.com. That's for business inquiries. And that's also for educational questions too. The only thing that you guys have to worry about is be polite, be nice, and read the room. If the person that you're talking to isn't open to direct conversation, then leave it at that. Lead with an opener. Like, hey, I loved your work on XYZ. How did you do that? Some people like being buttered up. I love being buttered up, or I like starting with small talk. What's the word? I like small talk. That's why I like talking to you guys. And that's why I love being on Twitch. Some people don't like that at all. Like one of my colleagues hates small talk. If you have a question, he wants you to answer him directly. I mean, to ask directly, and not lead in with some sort of thing. Whereas if you talk to me directly, then I'm like, I guess you didn't really want to talk to me. You just wanted an answer to your question. So there is that. Also, there's also my Discord too, where you can check out stuff too. Invite peeps. Copy. Discord. Well, you can do that too. I mean, hell, you never know. You might get a fun story out of it. And sometimes I do that too, even. Like, there's people that I admire that I get very scared about asking for advice. So, but you gotta buck up and you gotta remember that they're also people too. And if it wasn't for this construct called society, they wouldn't be famous. They're people. Now, granted, not everybody's going to react positively. There's a reason why you don't see a lot of famous people on Twitch. Aside from the fact that it's beneath them. They probably believe it's beneath them. Like, some people just don't deal well with talking to others, and they need to function through other people, so you have to read the room. So yeah, so that's what's up with that. And honestly, I highly encourage you guys to actually go out and interact with the people that you wanna be someday. Like Dust Up wrote up earlier. Can't wait to get done with school so I can reteach myself animation such as this. Awesome work. Which again, one, I appreciate, and two, that's kind of why there is a skip stream. I like interacting with you guys. If there's a streamer that you like, you should totally interact with them, because we like talking to you guys. Makes us feel good. Don writes, the only thing I would contact Mark Hamill for is Daisy Ridley's phone number. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have that, Don. You're kind of SOL on that. I think the only person who you could get Daisy Ridley's phone number from would be her boyfriend, whoever that is. Or girlfriend, if she's into that. Or just significant other, if she doesn't like have a binary boyfriend. Or binary significant other. Oh yeah, well, to be fair, the Hoodie Ninjas are in the process of being trying to follow through on a thing. Or rather, trying to escape from a collapsing factory. So if you go check out thecrimsonfly.com, well, the thing is, don't forget Dawn. She's a person. Believe me, I had tons of dreams about Ellen Page before I found out that was just never gonna ever be a thing. Not just because she's famous, but because she's gay. So that's never gonna be a thing with me and Ellen Page. So I'm trying to keep this continuity of line here. Like, one of my influences for this particular style is a guy named Mike Kunkel, and he's really good at this. Yeah, but hopefully the context will make sense soon. And I know I said I would go until 10 o'clock. But I'm gonna finish this first, and then we're gonna call it a night on the stream. So luckily for you, Dean, we're gonna go a little bit past 10 o'clock, hopefully. Hopefully it'll only be a little bit past 10 o'clock. That's actually what's cool about the Crimson Fly, and just really working publicly as a whole on a project, is that you learn so much. And, oop. And boop, 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 boop. And fill in some lines. The cool thing about this is that this is actually going to be my guide once I start animating. And then the motion will be a little bit more clear. So Crimson Fly tells me that's their their actual name. No, unfortunately, this character's name is the Crimson Fly, aka the character that's actually dancing around on the bottom left hand of the screen. The Hoodie Ninja would be cool. This is actually comes from a time from before they were actually the Crimson Fly. That's why they don't look like them in the illustration. You can see I'm kind of deviating from what I actually planned for the sketch for it, and that's throwing off my artwork. Don writes, I think the battery of my body is very low, so I gotta say good night, my friend. See you in the next stream, Skipper, and everybody else. Thank you for popping by, Don, and thank you for trooping it out for us. Cause like 4 a.m. is crazy. Also, Rain, if you need to pop off and pass out, that's totally fine too, because I know it's like late where you are. Pop down there, and also give him a hand there. Pun entirely intended. Group that. So who's is that they can use a Joy by? Wonder if they're a partner. We gotta get that Franker Face Z thing up. Real Dust Up writes, hey Skip, you see the news about Umbrella Academy? Yeah, which I say good for them. I have to admit, I don't really particularly care too much. Like, I know it was a comic book and I read like the first issue and then I kind of stopped paying attention. But I'm glad that it's getting a movie. For those who don't know, the Umbrella Academy is an indie comic by Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance. I think it's of My Chemical Romance. I'm not sure. Dust Up, if you could like clarify for me and catch anything where I messed up, then that would be great. So there was an indie comic that had a run for a while. I think a while ago. Oh, it's getting a 10-episode Netflix series. Okay, that's even better. And so now they're getting a Netflix series, I think. Is that the gist of it? I know that they're getting some sort of adaptation. Ooh. I'm okay. Ooh. Just summer sniffles. Alright, let's go back outside this group and color that red, because we do need a little bit of a slapdash of that. Oof. Yeah, that would be really cool. Excuse me. Alright, so we have 2 more shapes. Yeah, one of these days I'm gonna get the cheer button fixed up so that way it looks cool. So that way it's cool for people to subscribe, rather to people to cheer. I still appreciate cheers every so once in a while. Whew. We're going to alter this just a little bit. Oh, well, that's the cool thing about Cheers, Dust, is that what you can do is you can just watch an ad instead to earn bits for Cheers. That's always fun. Let's see if my hand practice pays off. I guess the old-fashioned way of getting bits for Cheers, but you don't have to either, too. Right now, your company is enough for me. And if I was doing this for well, okay, admittedly, I am doing it a little bit for bits, but if that was all I was here for, that wouldn't be really fun. Woo. And draw some more hands very poorly. Those hands suck. And we're gonna slide that in there. Put that foot there. Although, you know what's funny, Dust? Because, like, one of the things I actually do have planned for the Crimson Fly is a series of literal hoodie ninjas. But that's for Volume 3. We're currently in Volume 2 right now, so you're gonna have to wait on that. Hoodie Ninja hype! Yeah, they're gonna be cool when they show up, I think. I also need to start working on the concept art for them, too. Yeah, Volume 3 is going to be a bit of a break from the drama of Volume 2. Because Volume 2 is like very heavy and dramatic and all that, and it's a fun read, but it's also, I don't know, it's a little bit tiring to work on. Alright, so let's grab all of this. Let's do that. And stretch it out just a little bit. And move the jacket. Let's give it, just not to forget that the character is wearing a jacket. We don't want the jacket to overshadow the rest of the fly, so we're putting it underneath it like that. And fill all that in. Then we have one more pose, and then we're going to be done for the... Well, actually, no, we're not going to be done for the night. We need to do the text. And then we're going to be done for the night. And next we're going to blow that up just a little bit. Let's see what that looks like actually. So cool. And we're going to move you up a little bit. And then turn off the background. Rather make that onion skin. Well, Skip, gotta head out. Got school in the AM. Keep up the awesome work. Later, gents. All right, Real, thank you for popping by, and I hope to see you on the next Skip stream, which should be this Friday at Friday, same Skip time, same Skip channel at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to whenever Eastern Standard Time. So yeah. Alright, thank you for popping by, and I'll catch you later. Also, if you want notifications for when I'm on streaming, don't forget to give me a follow too, for that matter. Oops. Lock that. Control G. Ooh, that's the end of that particular video playlist. So let's go and add some more music. Let's go to the mixes because we are kind of winding down for the night. One finger there. Whew. And of course, if you guys have any questions about who I am, what I do, and what I'm working on right now, please feel free to drop it in the chat. Love answering questions. Well, actually just love talking, period, but questions are the most constructive way of doing that. Let's save. I just realized I haven't saved in like several hours. Oh my gosh. Let's do that. All right, let's take one more break. And stop recording. And then that'll be the it for the night, I'm pretty sure. Whew. So, oops, that was last week's strip. Rather, this week's strip. There's the emote that you'll get if you subscribe. Just assuming my thing goes through, and then there's a Sonic animation that I've been working on for a while. Just put that on for a little bit. TV. And Patreon. Let's see what. All right, time for the last break to end.
Are you listening to me?
There's no beef in here. So you wouldn't really call it bell peppers and beef, now would you?
Yes.
Well, it's not!
It is when you're broke.
Where'd my brush go? Alright. Start recording. Set the timer, because you always want to set the timer even if you're not sure. Alright.
Jet, do you know that there are 3 things that I particularly hate?
Really?
Kids, animals, and women with attitudes. So tell me, Jet, why do we have all 3 of them neatly gathered in our ship?
Yeah, let's adjust that a little bit.
What's cooking?
Special bell peppers and beef.
Oh, I know why this frame is bothering me. It doesn't feel like there's any contrapposto on it, so it doesn't feel as dynamic as it could be. That's why I'm gonna redraw that, which sucks because So let's save that real quick. Let's bring all of that down here where I can redraw it safely. Actually, I can't do that. Well, no, because I still need a hint at the arm. That doesn't work. That does. Ay, 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 ay. Yeah, there we go. That actually feels a lot more desperate because there's a contrapposto.
Если знаешь, откуда и куда ты едешь, я считаю, что это не настоящее путешествие. Настоящее путешествие, когда ты давно забыл, откуда едешь, и ты без понятия, где закончится твой путь. Я верю в это.
Yeah, it's mostly making sense. Turn. Flies. Custom mask. Mood. Cool. I'm forgetting something. Oh, because it's only for the mask, so if it doesn't actually extend that way, then that should be fine. Yeah, we're gonna make those into, because we have the technology, and if we have the technology, why not? It's because I apparently have to update stream labels. Alright, so let's adjust these their brightness. Yes. Five, 50, 5. All right. All right, there's like 2 more things left to do, and then we're gonna be done for the night. Text and exports. F8, paste that there. 8001. Text. Oh. And we're almost done. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do this text box and then we're gonna call it a night. think that's it for tonight. I think we got everything done that we wanted to. That's definitely it for me for right now. Alright, that's it for tonight. The Crimson Fly, we got to see how they escape being trapped in a factory while it's blowing it up. And yeah, next stream will be this Friday, 2 days from now, at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. 7 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So to Best Ever, Drastic Action, Faye Gwent, Misto Gelato, thank you for popping by the skip stream. We're gonna go host my friend Hydrogen. We're not gonna go raid her because she doesn't like raids happening on her stream. So that's what's up. My name is Colin SkipperWing Bird. You can find me at SkipperWing. Basically, just put in Google SkipperWing, and that's me with the first page. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys later. Good night, everybody.